Hello, everyone. This is Steven Gibson, and this is my general, let's say, state of the game for Grimslingers 2. Where are we at? I'm using noise cancellation so that hopefully the audio comes out pretty good in case any noise in the background. And I apologize if something gets noisy. So let's talk. It's been a week or two since I made the last video, and Grimslingers has come a long way. I have done a lot of playtests, some with solo players, some with 2 players, some with 3, 4, and 5. I want to thank everyone that has reached out for playtesting. It has been fantastic getting everyone's ideas and opinions on the game. For people who haven't played, everyone has been having a fantastic time. The game works really well, that it's at a point where I don't feel like I'm figuring it out anymore. I feel like I know the path ahead very well, and I'm very confident in getting to the end. and yeah, so I'm feeling super good about Grimslingers with all these playtests because it's just been great and it's just been getting better. So let's talk about some of the things that have improved. Before that, I do want to shout out Devin for his group of playtesters and organizing that, and for always coming up with new ideas and helping me figure out, the odds of what feels good, how many cards, and figuring out the math and everything. That's been fantastic. And for Jeff for organizing his group of 5 players, that gave me the confidence to take the game back. I was at 8 players. I went down to 4 just because I felt like it would cost too much. And then I realized that I'm going to add it back up to 6 players because each new player only adds about 30 to 40 cards. And the game is designed in a way where I was nervous about the 5-player test to see how things would work, if it would get too broken, and it went really well. It doesn't really take longer the more players you get. Some games it's like plus 30 minutes per player. It's not like that here because most things are simultaneous, and anything that was more turn-based, I'm going to change it into a simultaneous action. So yeah, it was really good. And I'm really excited to offer 6 players with Grimslingers and still having it be, a 5-minute setup time, 5-minute takedown, and just like you get right to playing. So things that have been added, I did start writing the campaign and the prologue. Everyone has responded really well to that. It's also the tutorial. So the game will introduce concepts. It'll be like, you pick up your gun. Okay, here's what guns do. Great. And you go and you find your anima. Okay, here's what animas do. And that way you can just sit down and start playing once you open the box. And I think that's going to really help this get to the table and help people feel really good about just playing it. And have a very low barrier to entry, so to speak. Also, the concepts and the rules are pretty straightforward. There is a ton of depth with the deck building and just how it all works that is really interesting, and people have really connected with the combat. And maybe I'll show off some more today or later. But other things I want to talk about, I've added a lot to the area. I started the campaign. The campaign is a sort of a non-linear situation, a choose your own adventure. So you'll get these, I don't know why that wasn't working, cards. They'll be pretty basic. They'll have a story on them, a little bit of a story, and they'll have objectives. You will have no idea what objective goes to what. And some objectives may be, 3 cards down, lead to a dead end, and branch off into different paths. And some of them are like, you'll see for this last one. Yeah, the full story / flavor text for this quest is located on page X of the campaign booklet. So there'll be larger story moments outside of these cards to really help drive things home. And, so I can tell a cool story. But otherwise, there's these little story beats. You're collecting these cards, and they have different objectives on them. And some of them are vague. For instance, like this one, it's like, find a way to enter the Hidden Kingdom. Now, you're like, okay, well, let's go to the Hidden Kingdom, and if I can't get in, then I'll have to explore the rest of the area to figure out how to get in. So there's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of like hints of what you need to do. Like this one says, once all players successfully solve blah, you can get the next quest card. And you might have no idea where that activity is located, so you'll have to explore until you find it. And I, when I played with the players last night, it was the 5-player game with this. That it all worked out well, and I think I can pretty confidently say the game will probably be 30 to 50 hours or something like that. Just with the amount of options, and these are pretty quick for me to develop, so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, that's been great. So the campaign is just, it's more of a game. You sit down, it's just like, here's the world, and then here's kind of a direction. You kind of go. Aside from that, those questing opportunities, um, I've added, you can see over here, just a ton of content to the areas. So before it was kind of like Undead Yards is like one activity, you're just trying to cross it. Now I've decided to invest more in each area so that you can spend a little more time. Every time you go through it, you can maybe pick something different. And I'm trying to put quests in each one as well, specific to that. So like the Undead Yards, you can choose, and this is from player feedback, which thanks guys. You can choose to either sneak through the Undead Yards, which if you look through here, there is a, you roll a 1d20 and there are a lot of outcomes, and some of them branch and have options, and different things happen to you. So that every time you go through the Undead Yards, you can get a different story moment. You'll be unlikely to see everything in the game, especially your first playthrough. Very unlikely. You can also do the Ghost Puncher Club, which is basically if you don't want to sneak through, you just want to get into a fight, and you get a loot bonus for just doing that. So some players like to fight more, some players like to adventure more, sometimes you just want to change your mind. And so each of these areas offers kind of multiple ways through them. There's also this quest summoning the ancient specter, and so you get to read this cool story moment, and then it's like, all right, if you have these items, you can then summon the specter, and you're like, oh, I don't have those. Maybe I'll come back when I do, or I'll specifically go out and get those. So it's a cool little side quest that gets you things you can't get otherwise. So like for this one, in order to get this awesome specter companion, you have to do the summon specter. And so there's there's little hidden secrets all over the place too, things connecting, and it's just a lot of fun. And then obviously on top of that, there's the global or the area events that change and have multiple ways to solve. So I think people are just going to really have a great time. There's also, yeah, here are some other things that are added. So like this spell orb, you can't get it except for through a quest. It's an amazing spell. And so like this special gun, which obviously is missing the art, you can only get this from doing a certain activity. And yes, so it's cool. So you can see here, there's I have added some of the rare loot cards into the game now to test that out. And there's the 4 loot rarities, and then there's also this special loot deck, which is exclusive to activities. The general loot pools are just what you get for doing stuff. So other things I want to talk about that I may not have last time are the attack tier decks. I may have mentioned it, but players are able to adjust their own personal difficulty outside of the groups. So there's kind of like a general difficulty across stuff. And then when in combat, players can choose to draw from attack deck 1 or attack deck 2, and that's going to determine how hard the creature is. The reason why you would want to do that is because as you go up in tiers, your loot rolls change, and they allow you to get better stuff more easily. So like with the tier 1 loot roll, it's really hard to get a rare. The odds are very low that you can get a rare. And when you go up to tier 2, they're much higher that you can get a rare. And then tier 3, you're able to get legendaries. And the tiers they're obviously harder attacks that you have to face, but they also have harder consequences. So in tier 1, if you lose, you get a -1 to your loot roll. But in tier 2, if you lose, you get a -2. And I might even adjust these to be even harder. But yeah, that's something I'm testing right now is attack tiers and all that stuff. So like if I'm playing with my son who's not very good at the game, or may not be, he hasn't played it with me yet. He may just want to stay on attack tier 1 and feel good about, beating that every time. It makes the math a little simpler. Whereas I might want to be on attack tier 2 or 3 as the, more advanced player. And so your groups can kind of interact with that in their own way that feels good for them and that they're happy about. And I think it works really well. It needs a lot more testing, but so far so good. And what are some other things I want to share that have changed? Yeah, basically just refining all the experiences, putting in the campaign and these kind of this branching narrative, choose your own adventure cards, and little secret quests inside each area. Yeah, I feel confident about that for an update. So I'm feeling super good about the game, and just everyone has been having a great time playing it, and uh, it's great. Can't wait to get it out to everyone else soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.